Hello friends, welcome to Crime Chronicles US, where America's unsolved mysteries, vanished criminals, and chilling cases come alive. Every story is real, every detail matters, and the truth remains buried in the shadows. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to stay updated with every mystery. The man lay on the sand as if he had chosen the spot carefully. His body angled slightly toward the sea, one arm bent, the other resting loosely by his side. It was early evening on the first day of December in 1948, and the sun was sinking over Somerton Beach near Adelaide, casting long shadows across the quiet shoreline. At first glance, there was nothing remarkable about him. He appeared well-dressed, even respectable, the kind of man one might expect to see taking a peaceful rest after a long walk. Passers-by noticed him, but felt no urgency. Some thought he was drunk. Others assumed he was sleeping. A couple saw his chest barely move and dismissed the unease that briefly stirred in them. No one imagined that this man, silent and unmoving against the seawall, would become one of the most enduring mysteries of the 20th century. When the body was finally examined later that night, the illusion of calm dissolved. He was dead. There were no obvious signs of violence, no blood, no bruises that suggested a struggle. His suit was neat, pressed, and oddly formal for a warm summer evening. He wore a tie. His shoes were polished. Everything about him seemed deliberate, as if he had dressed with care for an important occasion. Yet, there were no identification papers in his pockets, no wallet, no letters, no personal documents of any kind. The labels on his clothing had been meticulously removed. Whoever this man was, he either did not want to be known, or someone had taken great care to erase him. The police were called, and the body was transported for examination. The man was estimated to be in his 40s, physically fit, with strong calves and well-maintained hands that showed no signs of hard labor. His hair was fair, his features composed, even in death. The medical examiner noted congestion in some organs, suggesting poisoning, but no clear cause could be determined. No known poison was detected, at least not with the forensic tools available at the time. It was as if death had come quietly, leaving behind no chemical fingerprint. As investigators cataloged his possessions, the strangeness deepened. In his pockets were mundane items: a bus ticket, an unused train ticket, a box of matches, a packet of chewing gum, cigarettes of a brand not matching the case they were in. Ordinary objects, yet none offered a clue to his identity. The unused train ticket suggested a journey that never happened. The bus ticket hinted at movement within the city earlier that day. The mismatched cigarettes raised eyebrows, a small irregularity in an otherwise carefully ordered appearance. Despite newspaper coverage and public appeals, no one came forward to claim the body. No missing person reports seemed to match him. His fingerprints were taken and checked against records, not just in Australia, but overseas as well. There was no match. It was as if he had never existed. The absence of a name gave him one by default. He became known as the Somerton Man. Days turned into weeks, and still no answers emerged. The body was embalmed and preserved, a silent witness waiting for recognition that never came. Investigators revisited every detail, scrutinizing the clothes, the contents of his pockets, the place where he had died. They reconstructed his final hours as best they could. Witnesses recalled seeing him the previous evening, sitting against the sea wall, legs outstretched, head tilted back. One person thought they saw his arm move, as if swatting a mosquito. Another remembered his unusual stillness. None of these fragments formed a clear picture. Then, weeks later, a new and baffling clue surfaced. While examining the man's trousers more closely, a pathologist discovered a small, carefully rolled piece of paper hidden in a fob pocket. It was so well concealed that it had been missed during earlier inspections. On the paper were 2 words printed in elegant type: Tamam Shud. The phrase was unfamiliar to most investigators, but it did not take long to trace its origin. It was Persian, meaning ended or finished, commonly found at the end of poems in a book called the Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam. The implication was unsettling. The word suggested finality, an intentional closing. It did not read like an accident or a random scrap of paper. It felt like a message, perhaps even a farewell. But where had it come from, and why was it hidden in such a deliberate way? Police appealed again to the public, this time asking if anyone owned a copy of the Rubaiyat with the final page torn out. For months, nothing happened. Then, unexpectedly, a man came forward. He claimed that he had found a copy of the Rubaiyat in the back seat of his car, sometime after the Somerton man's death. He could not explain how it had gotten there. The book was an unusual edition, and the last page had indeed been torn out. When investigators examined it closely, they found something even more perplexing. On the inside back cover of the book was a series of letters written in pencil, arranged in what appeared to be lines. They did not form recognizable words. Instead, they looked like a code. Some letters were crossed out, others repeated. There was also a phone number written faintly in the book. The discovery shifted the case from strange to extraordinary. This was no longer just an unidentified body. It was beginning to resemble something out of a spy novel. The code baffled everyone who saw it. Cryptographers were consulted, but no definitive solution emerged. Some believed it was a simple substitution cipher. Others argued it was meaningless, perhaps shorthand notes or initials. The lack of context made interpretation nearly impossible. The phone number, however, offered a tangible lead. It belonged to a nurse who lived not far from where the body was found. When police contacted her, she reacted with visible shock upon seeing a plaster cast of the man's face. She denied knowing him, yet witnesses later recalled that her demeanor suggested she was hiding something. She admitted to having given a copy of the Rubaiyat to a man years earlier during the war, but insisted it was not the Somerton man. Her explanations were cautious, measured, and left room for doubt. She would not elaborate further, and police, lacking concrete evidence, could not press her. Speculation exploded. The timing of the case, so soon after World War II, fed theories of espionage. Adelaide was home to sensitive military facilities, including weapons research sites. The idea that the Somerton man was a spy, poisoned by an enemy agent or by his own hand to avoid capture, captured the public imagination. His untraceable identity, the code, the foreign phrase, all seemed to point in that direction. Others believed the case was more personal. Perhaps he was a man who had traveled far for love or regret, only to meet a quiet end. The words Tamam Shud could be interpreted as a final statement, a philosophical acceptance of death. The Rubaiyat itself contains verses reflecting on fate, mortality, and the fleeting nature of life. Was the Somerton man someone who had taken these ideas to heart? Yet the evidence resisted every attempt to force it into a single narrative. The autopsy results remained inconclusive. No poison was identified, though doctors suspected something rare and fast-acting, something that would leave little trace. Digitalis, strychnine, and other substances were considered and dismissed. Without certainty, the cause of death was officially recorded as unknown. Years passed, and the mystery refused to fade. The Somerton man became a fixture in Australian folklore, a riddle passed from one generation to the next. New investigators revisited the case, re-examining old files, interviewing aging witnesses, applying modern forensic techniques where possible. Each effort produced theories, but not answers. The body was eventually buried, still unnamed, the headstone bearing a simple inscription that acknowledged the unknown. Even in death, he remained an enigma. The fragments of his story, his clothes, the code, the torn page, were preserved like relics, waiting for someone, someday, to connect them. What made the case endure was not just the unanswered questions, but the sense of intention surrounding everything the man left behind. This was not chaos, it felt curated. The removal of labels, the hidden paper, the poetic phrase, the silence of those who might have known him. Every element suggested design, whether that design belonged to the man himself or to forces acting upon him was impossible to say. As decades rolled on, technology advanced, and with it, hope. DNA analysis, once unimaginable, became a possibility. Enthusiasts and researchers pushed for exhumation, believing that genetic material might finally reveal the man's origins. The Somerton man, who had defied identification for so long, stood on the threshold of being known at last. But even as science edged closer, the emotional core of the mystery remained unchanged. Who was he when he was alive? What choices led him to that beach? Did he expect to die there, watching the sky darken over the water? Or was death an unwelcome interruption to plans unfinished? The words "tamam shud" lingered like an echo, both an ending and a challenge, daring the world to decide whether his story was truly finished. And so the Somerton man waited, suspended between anonymity and revelation, his life reduced to clues and conjecture. His death, an unanswered question, written in sand and erased by time, yet never fully gone. The door has been opened. What waits on the other side is no longer simple.